Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be discussing a recent interview that Naoki Yoshida did with Famitsu magazine. Now, I say that it's with Famitsu, but it's actually with a roundtable of Japanese media. He does this at a lot of conventions. I think he even did it at North American Fan Festival, Tokyo Game Show. It happens with a lot of conventions that Naoki Yoshida attends. So while I'm saying it's Famitsu, 4Gamer and a bunch of other websites are also reporting very similar news. I'm using Gamerscape, by the way, as my source, and also, big shout out, big reason why I'm using Gamerscape for this is because our boy Marco is working with Gamerscape now. So we're really proud of you, Marco. We love that you do the translations for us throughout all of these things. And here's just another translation you can add on to it. So big shout out to Marco, and be sure to go over and give Gamerscape some love, you guys. Anyway, moving on to the interview itself. Here's the original interview if you're interested, if you want to click in the description and find the original. So he starts by talking about the opening keynote. The entire interview is about the Japanese Fan Festival and some of the details there. There's some detail in the opening keynote itself, some information on Red Mage, some information on patch cycles, and we'll get into all of that in this video. So he starts off by talking about his nerves compared to Las Vegas. He's much more comfortable at the Japanese Fan Festival because he's speaking his native language, as he calls it, his mother tongue. And he was really happy that he had a lot of new information to discuss because, you know, at Las Vegas, we kind of get the gist of it all. But now he's able to reveal a lot more. He's able to speak faster because he doesn't have to think about the translations. Time is a little bit more on his side when it comes to this. So he was really happy with the way it turned out. On top of that, he's also really happy with sort of the scheduling. He seems content with scheduling right now because we just wrapped this up. In a month, less than a month, we have patch 3.5, part 1, which is looking to be pretty good. Then a month from then, we have Frankfurt, Germany for the European Fan Festival. And then less than a month, or approximately a month after that, we have patch 3.55, or patch 3.5 part 2. And there's going to be new content all along the way. So very happy with the pacing. And then less than 3 months after that, what do we got? We got the expansion launch itself. It's not as far away as it seems. It's less than 6 months away. So moving forward, he's going to be revealing a lot of information at the European Fan Festival, and he expects that that is where the highest level of excitement is going to be in regards to announcements. And then he expects, because it'll come after patch 3.5, for players to be anticipating it even more, which is normal. I don't think that's abnormal. I think we would all agree with that. So in total, they've given out about half the information regarding the expansion that they want to, and they still have half of it to go. That's crazy to think when it comes to jobs, zones, raids, difficulties, you know, dungeons. There's still so much more we don't know yet, and I'm excited to learn the rest. So commenting on Red Mage, there's some very important information regarding Red Mage right here. The big reason why they wanted Red Mage, first of all, Yoshi-P years ago said Red Mage would be his favorite job to add to 14. And with the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy, he wants to go back to the roots. And Red Mage is one of the OGs, so he's like, we gotta get it in for the expansion, everyone. So he's really happy to have that revealed at the Japanese Fan Festival, but he kind of skimps on the details regarding the way it works in terms of physical versus magical damage. Clearly, we see that it uses the sword physically, but what kind of damage it actually does, the sword itself, the melee attacks that we see are what we're talking about. He doesn't want to answer. He goes, physical is... I can't say anything else. He doesn't want to reveal too many details. Probably wants us to wait for Frankfurt. Although actually he says he'll have more information regarding Red Mage and the types of damage that it deals probably closer to April or May. Now, one of the most important details right here is Red Mage is a pure DPS. A lot of questions were raised regarding the slot that Red Mage would fill, whether it would compete with the Black Mage Summoner spot, complement the Black Mage Summoner spot being like a secondary caster DPS, or if it would be fighting for the Machinist Bard or even the melee. Like, everyone's just like, well, it's got part melee, it's got part ranged, but it's classified as a pure ranged magical DPS in the same category as Black Mage and Summoner. That's not to say it won't have utilities. I mean, I think some of us kind of already have an idea of what kind of utilities Red Mage could possibly have, but expect it to be competing, or, you know, you could do double caster setup, but it's technically filling that Black Mage Summoner spot. It's competing with them for that magical damage slot that most raid groups consider optimal. You know, one caster, one ranged physical, and then 2 melee. Just saying that's what most people consider optimal, so I'm going to say it's competing with that spot. He talks about how he kind of understands that there's a little bit of confusion regarding it being a pure DPS, since he envisions it as a mix of black and white magic. But they had to, as he says it right here, and we've been saying this for months, they had to fit it into the 14 formula. It is not a hybrid job. And he flat out says he always envisioned it being that way. He has that image. That's what he considers a red mage, but he's glad that they're able to introduce something that seems very loyal to the original red mage in its image, in some of its abilities, while also creating something that's unique to the Final Fantasy XIV experience. He doesn't really comment on what red magic is specifically. I think he doesn't want to give details because he's afraid people will kind of figure out a little too much a little too early. And then the rest of it is him kind of just, I don't want to comment on it. Also, if you watched my shirt video where we talk about the Spider-Man shirt, here is the comment that I was actually referring to in that video. Spider-Man has a few movies and there isn't only one director. It might be a Spider-Weber job. I stated earlier as we implement jobs true to the Final Fantasy series, so you might argue, what do you mean Spider-Weber? Laugh. Anyways, please do speculate. I love it. He's like, tear each other apart. I can't wait to watch this. He loves reading the forums of people debating back and forth what it's actually going to be. It's like, oh, this makes my job so much better. With it being true, I think we all have come to an agreement. It's either Blue Mage or Samurai, and they specifically ask him about Sam Raimi. So he kind of alludes to it not being related to that, but he doesn't completely throw it out the window. And then we all have the actual theory of Spider-Man being bit by a spider, and that's kind of like Blue Mage learning abilities, they're attacked. So we'll see where it goes. I think we're all in agreement it's one of those two. It's just a matter of which one it actually ends up being. I'll be happy with either if it's implemented well into the game. So the importance of diving and swimming. Man, you guys know I'm not a fan of swimming in MMOs, mostly because I don't like underwater combat. It's a personal thing. I can think of very few instances where it's done well, even in Cataclysm with World of Warcraft, that zone, not a big fan. The importance of diving and swimming, it's required for main story quests, but they are going to have content that is specific to diving and swimming. We already know this. There's new types of gathering, especially fishing, when it comes to swimming and diving. So unlike flying, which was strictly for transportation, although obviously there are areas you could only get to via flying. Were there areas you could only get to via flying, now that I think about it? I might be, yeah, I guess there's a handful of them. I could think of at least one in the hinterlands. But there's actual content that is developed around swimming and diving. No, not Blitzball. Okay, it's probably, I mean, come on, Final Fantasy X themed reward throughout all the fan festivals. I can't avoid the truth. It's gonna happen. And then he said that he doesn't want to say if there's going to be dungeons and towns underwater. I think we all kind of know there probably will be, just no underwater combat. It'll be involved, but not underwater combat. He also, out of nowhere, confirms they're going to reveal the new housing area in Frankfurt, which tells us that we're going to know what it is in patch 3.5. I think we all know either Ishgard or an area in Alamigo. I think most of us are guessing Ishgard. Some of us even think, I've seen some theories that it's going to be the Dunskaith, because it's technically a residential area. I'm not opposed to that, by the way. I think that would be really cool. I just don't know if it's going to be what actually ends up happening. So the fourth housing area going to get revealed in Europe. That's a little hot scoop right there. All right, then they talk about the 30th anniversary for Final Fantasy, and he talks about how Final Fantasy XIV is still not finished. There's a lot of attractions they want to add to the game, and they're challenging themselves to satisfy the needs of the current generation of games as well as players, so we look at ourselves as challengers. I think Stormblood will be the first title to mark the 30th anniversary, so we want to release it with that in our mind. So the first title in the 30th, I mean, I don't think that would imply that Zodiac Age isn't coming out till after Stormblood, unless he doesn't consider Zodiac Age as a remaster to be the first title that's releasing with the 30th anniversary. So that's a little bit weird of a statement to make, because I thought that Zodiac Age was slated for Q1 of 2017. I guess we'll find out more. It's not really too much, not really worth digging into that statement all too much. And then he talks about Keita Amemiya and Yasume Matsuno. If you guys didn't know, basically, two legends in the industry. I say legends, but they're really only legends to us. It's not like they're rock stars. It's not like Michael Bay walking out on stage. Everyone's like, yeah! You know, you have the guy who worked on Ivalice. He like built the Ivalice universe, or helped build the Ivalice universe, in Yasume Matsuno. And then you have Keita Amemiya, who's worked on the show Garo. He's worked on some of the Shin Megami Tensei games, and they are joining the Final Fantasy XIV team. I personally, even if the content's exactly the same, that's a huge boost, because that's going to help build the stories and the worlds a lot better. Having like experts like this on the team, and to have Final Fantasy XIV drawing in experts like that or people that are very much praised by a lot of people in the industry, or a lot of people in the JRPG industry. It's really good news because it means they're finally getting those job applications that Yoshi-P is always asking for. So they're going to be helping work on the new 24-man raid. We already know that, and we could probably expect they'll be working on some other things in the future. They talk a little bit how they started working together. They confirm the new Alliance raid will not be till 4.1, but that they are way further along in the development of it, so they'll be able to share details maybe just after the launch of the expansion. One of the best parts of this little answer right here, when it comes to Heavensward, there was a pretty long wait between 3.0 and 3.1. This time, we started discussion and development at an earlier stage, so that gap won't be as large as last time. It was an extra month, I believe. Instead of a 3.5 month, it was 4.5 months, and it was torture. The bigger problem was that 3.1 was kind of a letdown. But it's good to know that the gap between the launch of Stormblood and its immediate following patch is not going to be the crazy long gap that was from 3.0 to 3.1. Because let's be honest, that kind of sucked. Moving on, they talk about the Garrow collaboration confirmation. If you have wolf marks before this comes out, you'll be able to buy the items. So it's not new quests, it's not new anything. You buy the items with wolf marks from PvP, and I'd imagine MGP from the Gold Saucer. So just get all the gear, just start gathering wolf marks now if you want to PvP prior to the Grand Company restrictions being lifted. And hoping that PvP is livened up. Hopefully it doesn't lead to any deliberate throws in Frontlines. I kind of don't want it to. Man, my hair is a mess. Why did I record this video looking like that? It's okay, I'm tired. I gotta go to bed after this. And yeah, I'm really excited. I hope that the Garrow collaboration goes over well. It doesn't seem to be as sort of cumbersome as the Yokai Watch was, with all the fates and whatnot, and the ability to actually get all the items. This seems like it's going to be a lot more fun to do, at least if you're into PvP or the Gold Saucer. And on top of that, they talk about the Garrow motions, you know, like the emotes, things that resemble Garrow. And they said the Garrow event is going to go on even longer than the Yokai Watch event. So if people request things enough, like emotes for Garrow, they have time to implement it within the event itself. So it could be like, oh, the event's ongoing, but here's a new reward from it. I think that would be pretty cool. So I'm interested to see how that ends up working out, how well the Garrow event and its armors are received. I know I want the mounts. Speaking of the mounts, the very last question that he answers is if the mounts for the event will be tied to current achievements, and he said no, you're going to have to earn them after the event starts. He said 2 of them are going to be pretty... not too bad to get, but the 3rd one is going to be pretty hard. I wonder if we need all the achievements or all of the other armor pieces, kind of like the Yokai Watch event where you needed everything before you can actually get the final mount. I don't know. I'm looking forward to doing it all the same. Thank you, everyone, for watching this video. Man, I'm really tired and, like, out of breath today. I don't know what it is. I think I'm just too excited, so I'm, like, not breathing enough. I think that's all it is. So there's the ads at the bottom, you know. They gotta make money. They're a website. You gotta make money, you gotta have ads. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comment section of the video below. Anyway, I'm posting this video on my birthday. Time to go eat some food. We'll stream and eat some food. I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, take care.